Hey everybody, today we're going to look at a kitchen skill, and that kitchen skill is measuring. So, start off, we're going to start with this measuring cup. And this measuring cup is used to measure a certain type of thing, and that certain type of thing is liquids. So that could be like water, could be milk, could be oils, anything that is liquid that you can pour. That's what you measure in this type of measuring glass, or measuring cup, a glass one. And we can see that on the measuring cup there's different measurements, and so you're going to look at your recipe and see what measurement you need. Today I'm going to pour 1 cup, which you can see is right there. There's the 1, there's the word cup, C-U-P. So if I want 1 cup, I'm going to pour it to that line. If I wanted a half cup, 1/2, I would pour it to this line. And the way I'm going to pour it is I'm going to put the measuring cup down on the counter, and I'm going to pour, and I'm going to bring my eyes to the same level as the measuring cup so that I can see right on the line. And I'm going to pour and stop once I get to the 1 cup. And that allows me to see it the most clearly, because if I just pour from up here, looking on top, I can't quite tell. So you really need to get right down and see to get a perfect 1 cup. And I will just show you. There, we've got 1 cup. I'm not holding it quite straight, but there you go. So that's how we measure with a liquid measuring cup. Is by getting down and looking and pouring it into it. Okay, so that's pretty easy, right? We've done the liquids. Now we're going to look at how we would measure dry ingredients. So things like flour, sugar, or baking soda. So measuring cups usually come in a set like this, and you usually have 4 sizes. So the smallest size is a 1/4 cup, and then the next size up is usually a 1/3 cup. This size up, the next one, is a 1/2 cup, and then usually the biggest is 1 cup. So a full cup there. So if your recipe says 1 cup, you're going to use this one. If it said 2 cups, I would use this one 2 times. If it said a 1/2 cup, this one. Okay, and the way we're going to measure is we're going to get a nice big scoop. So I want it overflowing. So you can see that's a big scoop, but this is too much. This is more than 1 cup. So if I have a recipe and it says 1 cup, this is too much, and my recipe won't come out right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold my cup over the flour bag, and then I'm going to take a butter knife, and I'm going to use the flat back part. So flip my butter knife upside down, flat back part, and I'm just going to scrape off the extra. And I'm going to go right along the cup edge and scrape it off so that I have a perfect flat 1 cup of flour. So now I know that is exactly 1 cup. And you want to make sure you're not using the side that's not flat, because it'll take off a little bit more than what you need to take off. So that is how I measure with that measuring cup. Do the same thing with the sugar. I'm going to use a 1/4 cup this time. So I'm going to get a nice big scoop. Make sure you get extra, because you don't want less. Open the bag up a bit. And then I'm just going to scrape off the extra sugar so that I have a perfectly full 1/4 cup. And if you fill it like this, so so that it's not right up to the edge, that means it's not enough. And again, your recipe's not going to come out right because you don't have a 1/4 cup of sugar. You have less than a 1/4 cup. So you need to fill it all the way right to the top of the measuring cup. So if you do a scoop like this, you got to do it again. Scoop a bigger scoop. And some people just like to shake it. You could do that too, but it's a little bit less precise. So you can see I'm missing a little bit here. So the scooping too much method is the best method for measuring. Okay, and then there's one other type of measuring, and that is measuring spoons. So this is for when you're measuring something small, like a spice or something you only need a little bit of, like salt, or maybe like baking soda or baking powder. And you can measure liquids with this too. So I could be measuring water in one of these. So measuring spoons, you can use a liquid like a water or an oil or vanilla, or something dry like baking soda. So the same thing, they come in different sizes. So usually the smallest size is a 1/4 teaspoon, and then there's a 1/2 teaspoon, and then usually 1 teaspoon, and a tablespoon is the biggest one. So you've got 1/4, a 1/2, a 1 teaspoon, and then a tablespoon is bigger. Teaspoon small, tablespoon bigger. And this, you're gonna measure the same way. So if you're doing something dry, so here we have baking powder. I'm gonna use the 1/2 teaspoon. I'm gonna do a big scoop. So you can see I've got a big scoop again. And I'm just going to take the knife and get rid of the excess so that I have a perfect, well, this is a 1/2 teaspoon, a perfect 1/2 teaspoon of what I need. And if I was measuring a liquid, I would just pour it, maybe I do it over a sink so that if I spill, it doesn't fall on my counter. I'm just gonna do it here. You wanna fill it all the way to the top. Whoop, see, mine spilt a little bit. I'll just hold it over the cup for now. But you would wanna fill it all the way to the top of the spoon. I've dripped a bit, so it's not quite as full. And that is how you would measure liquid using measuring spoons. Okay, so that's how we measure different ingredients. I hope you can practice at home, and maybe you'll practice making the chocolate chip cookie recipe that we do this week. Okay, see you next week.